Sunday. Happy Emancipation Weekend. Happy Independence Day. Welcome to Let's Talk About You. I am your host, Camilla Francis, and it's always an honor and a privilege to come on and just share and celebrate with you. You like my madras bows? I got them yesterday from Let's Talk I Am Hope Foundation Conference from a beautiful young entrepreneur who makes bows, and I just figured I would support her. And what better way to display our VI youth talent than today and our Let's Talk About You Emancipation Celebration show. Now, my guest today is my mama. She has been with me for from the time I was 14 years old. She has mentored me. She's taken care of me. She has molded me. She has done so well, not only by me, but by hundreds of youth here in the Virgin Islands. She is none other than Alecia Wells.
Hey,
Hey,
and I'm
Ma.
so glad
Welcome
you
to Let's
remember to
Talk About You.
say, I'm sorry.
I said, welcome to Let's Talk About You.
Thank you. And I know you know me very well because you said Alecia Wells. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
finally got you on, but and I think that this is just the ideal time for you to be on for everything that you do. So, for the listening audience, I know honestly there's no one in these Caribbean islands that don't know Alecia Wells, but I still want for those that who may not, that one or two person, just tell us some of what Alecia Wells has been up to recently. Tell us about you.
Well, good afternoon again, and thank you for having me. This time and this show is very apropos because today I live on St. John, and today I went down to St. Thomas, to the Ruthie Thomas Auditorium, where all saints, well, not all saints, the Episcopal Diocese of the Virgin Islands had a emancipation service. That meant we had parishioners from all the churches in the diocese where we met together at the auditorium, had one service. But what have I been doing? A lot of things, because the older you get, the more busy you need to be. Because if you just sit still, you just shrivel up and die. Although we have to die, so you have to keep moving. So I've been doing a lot. I've been um, traveling to Texas because this program in the Virgin Islands is trying to fix my damaged house from 2017. So I've had a lot of experience on the planes. I know very much now, almost where every seat is on the plane, which ones I don't want to be in. I've met a lot of people. I know what it's like putting up my bag in the overhead with my laptop, and my arm is hurt me from carrying too many books too many years ago on my shoulder. So I've been doing a lot of traveling, but enjoying it, and enjoying meeting people.
Yes, and I mean, you've been an educator for how many years before you decided to retire into your next busyness that you're doing now?
More than 30 years. In fact, today it was bittersweet when I looked around at CHS, because that's scheduled to be demolished.
Yes.
And it was a group of us from St. John who went to the service, and the park superintendent, Nigel Fields, who is one of our parishioners at St. Ursula's on St. John, said to me, "Oh, someone just told me you taught at this school." I said, "Oh, yeah, I did." And he said, "So how long were you here?" I said, "A lot of years." And he said, "What did you teach?" So I told him about business law and street law and business math, and he said, "Oh, no wonder you're always corrected." I said, "Now, Nigel, if you want to be my friend, don't get into that area of it, because I am always corrected. English composition." And Camilla was, I must say, was an excellent student, and she has carried it through, a good communicator. But
Thank you very much. See, well, one of the many things that you have definitely taught me, in addition to being a great communicator, you have to give back to your community. I don't care what it is you do. I don't care what y'all do. Y'all have to give back. This community is too important. And that was a staple piece that resonated with me. It stuck within my head. And it was something that I know I have to do no matter what. I have to give back because that was embedded in me. I know that for the years that you not only taught me and mentored me and mothered me, um, that you taught us the importance of giving back and the benefits of it. And it's not so much so you can see the profitable portion of it, but that sense of giving and seeing the gratitude on someone else's face for the time that you've given to them, that in itself spoke volumes to me. And I know that there was no going back from the time you opened my life to that. There was no going back. So thank you.
You're welcome. Ironically, also, I guess you must have been in everybody's aura today because this one lady looked at my niece who's visiting and she said, "That's Mr. Francis' daughter." And I said, "Mr. Francis?" I was like, "Oh, why are we going here with this?" I couldn't even remember. I didn't even know she was really talking about your dad, Mr. Francis. She said, "Your daughter that you adopted." I said, "No." She said, "She looks like her." I said, "No." But I guess I could see where the resemblance is because she's always to me because New York is she's a born and bred New York and they can't speak English. We know that. Just like I used to tell all of my students, we like their accent, but they don't speak English. So, Auntie always correct, and I said, "Yeah, but you can't say thing like texted and where is it at? And that is a preposition." She said, "Just okay, Auntie." So
Yes, once a teacher, always a teacher.
always,
Once an
always,
educator, always an educator.
always,
And
it's
we
just
need that.
awful.
So thank you. Thank you for never stop being true to who you are. Thank
Well,
you.
that you're welcome, but a lot of times I feel like you just need to sit down and leave people alone and let them say what they want to say or do what they want to do. In Carnival Village, a few nights ago, this lady who we worked at night school, um, she started to say something and she said, "Okay, let me just stop." And she's a retiree also. She said, "Let me stop and rephrase this because I know Miss Wells is going to correct me." I said, "No, I'm not going to do that." I have to be careful with that because yeah, I know I do that, which is sometimes to my detriment. But when you get a certain age, you hear something wrong, you say it right away. It's automatic. No, no, don't say that. Say this.
Well, we
And I
thank you for
always
your balance because we know that. And with you being an educator and have done so much, you've also been a staple in our community. I know I live on St. Thomas, but St. John is your home. And every year at this time of the year, you're busier than ever because not only is the festivities, you're on so many different committees and programs and putting things together. And today we're talking about Emancipation Day and the importance of Emancipation Day. I know for some of us, we just think, oh, the third is a holiday, the fourth is a holiday, I have a long weekend. But let our listening audience know exactly why we're celebrating July 3rd and Emancipation Day.
well, our emancipation, Virgin Islands, is the 1733. We
Yes.
came way before July 4th. July 4th is American emancipation, and we associate American emancipation with red, white, and blue flags, having barbecues, parades going down. But our emancipation was so succinct because our emancipation, our Virgin Islands, came out of toil and struggle.
Yes.
And a lot of the persons who led that emancipation or who caused the emancipation to be were women. And I know that is why um, I try to cultivate and strong myself with women, strong women, because it took all of them to make all of us. Because
Yes.
when they decided they weren't going to be slaves anymore, they weren't going to be doing the master's bidding, they weren't going to be doing this and that. And you've heard about Bottom Belly and all of those other Matilda and those strong women. They just said no more, no more. And particularly in St. John, and it's just so ironic that we have these ties on. Head ties were used to hide the machetes and the cutlasses and everything that they were going to do damage. And they decided that they were going to go all the way, whether they were killed or they killed somebody, but they had to be free. And of course, you remember Von Schulten in St. Croix because of his friend. um, she spoke with him and he declared freedom for or emancipation really for the people of the Danish West Danish West Indies at the time, which is now the United States Virgin Islands. I read and I saw a movie, I think, about 1971. And that's the name, I think. And if you haven't seen it, you should. It shows how uh, these slaves on a plantation in the South, it took them so long before they even knew they were free, so that they got extra years out of them. And if it weren't for this one lady or one woman, black woman, who decided that something had to be wrong just the way this was going, it just seemed like she couldn't think for herself. Her husband wasn't really her husband. The master could tell him what to do. The master would come to her at night and want to have sex with her. And she said something is wrong with this. And she just started walking. She escaped from the plantation and she got to a highway because she had to go through a lot of foliage and trees and stuff. And this car almost ran her over because she had no idea that there were cars, highways. And the way she was dressed in that old slavery uniform. And the person who picked her up said, "Why are you dressed like that?" And she said, "Well, why? What should I be dressed in?" And he said, "Why are you wearing clothes like that?" And he said, "Where did you come from?" She said, "My plantation." He said, "The plantation." And you could expect what happened. That to me was so succinct that 1971 was just yesterday. It seemed like when they had
Yeah.
been working so long from the 1800s, never knew that they were free. Never knew. That's why we have Juneteenth too, because that was in Texas when they had that extra time to get extra work from the black people because they didn't know that they didn't have to do that anymore.
And
No,
it's
but
sad that just now, after all these years, we finally get to celebrate Juneteenth, and
exactly
many persons didn't even know what Juneteenth was and that it existed.
true.
So it's good that we have you, educators, to inform us about things like this. That we know that we have July 3rd locally as a holiday and our Emancipation Day, but we don't really know why and the importance, as you said, women, strong women. And because of these women, they sacrificed their times, their lives, and we could go back and forth, but the things that we have endured as a people and we as women, and even though we're in the year of 2023 of our Lord, and it seems sometimes it seems like we're going backwards, but we have to stay focused. We have to stay focused.
We have to stay focused and we have to teach those who don't know because someone doesn't know, it's not their fault, but it shouldn't remain ignorant. Once we know something, we should share it. And a lot of times, we Westerners, we want to be unique and not do like the other one or don't look different from the other person, which is fine. But the basic knowledge of what we have been through personally and our ancestors, that we have to share that, because without that, our young people won't know or have any value in what they are, what they have done or what they can become. So
Exactly.
every minute, every moment is a teaching moment. Yes.
I totally agree. Today, July 2nd, we have educator Alecia Wells here and Let's Talk About You. And we're talking about the importance of Emancipation Day and what it means, and that it's not just a holiday, and persons that who have sacrificed their lives and their time to make our lives today better. And as you were saying, Ma, because I'm going to go back and forth between Miss Wells and Ma.
It's all right. You can take license with that.
um, that even though we've come so far and some of us don't want to remain in the space of, okay, my life is better, so I don't need to always rehash what happened in the past. But it's not so much so rehashing, it's being aware of where you came from to so that your life can be better and to make someone else's life better.
True that. And a lot of times when there's confrontation, uh, I think with the younger people, especially younger whites, and they'll say, "Well, you just have to get over it. How do you just get over that?" And because of that, I went to Senegal, and to me that was just such a it had such an effect on my life. It wasn't. I went with a group of educators also and some others, and this was some years ago. But I remember when the plane landed in Dakar, and the realization hit that you're on African soil, and we walked out of that plane, and my feet touched that tarmac. It was just it's indescribable. It's an indescribable feeling because somebody in my family came through there. somebody.
And
And
that's exactly what I felt when I went to Ghana. So I share that.
yeah, that's on my bucket list. Ghana is the first thing on my bucket list, and then the next thing would probably be Dubai. But it has to be Ghana first because Larry Sewer went with my brother in 2019, I think, and we actually had a naming ceremony, and I had that also when I went to Senegal, and they met people who were actually SOA, SOWAH, and FRETT, and they just changed the name here from SOA to Sewer, SEWER. It's just amazing. We're just amazing people, and uh, it's true. We have another person who looked just like us someplace else because I remember as we were walking, going down the street one day in Senegal, there was this man walking towards us, and you couldn't tell me he wasn't Derek Hart. So you know me, fronted Kate. I went up to him, and he was dressed in the same type outfit like Derek would wear, the nice shirts with a little um, trees
Handkerchief.
in it, and
Okay.
the green something past. He's tall, and his eyes, those hazel eyes, and I was like, you know someone named Derek Hodge? And he was like, no. I said, have you ever heard of the Virgin Islands? And he said, no. I said, well, we have a lieutenant governor because at the time Derek was lieutenant governor. I said, we have a lieutenant governor. He said, well, what is that? I said, it's like next to the highest. The highest would be the governor and then the lieutenant governor. I said, and he looks just like you, and you look just like him. He says, so where is this place, Virgin Islands? I was trying to associate with Puerto Rico. He had no idea at all. But so we do have a twin someplace. I
Yes.
believe that from that day on. From that day on, I believe, because there was Derek. I mean, same hair texture, same color, same height, same, just same. If you close your eyes and you spoke with him, probably a little bit different accent, but it was just scary, but it was fun.
But for the Emancipation Day festivities, I know particularly in St. John, what type of activities are done on this day?
Well, we normally have a reenactment, and because we had Senator Craig Barshingen, he likes to be in thing, and he was always Von Schulten. So, and because Von Schulten was white and tall, and we would do our recreation in Cruz Bay Park, which is the Franklin Powell Park. And Dr. Gilbert Sproul, who's a linguist and a professor and just a fine Virgin Islander who's very much into history because he lived in Africa, and a lot of his um, children, I think, were born in Africa. And a segue would be Singo, who I saw a few nights ago. I said, Singo, how are you? What are you doing? And he said, I'm fine. I said, so where do you live? One guess.
Ghana,
No,
Senegal.
no.
Okay, well, you go ahead. I
United
didn't.
States. Yes.
Oh,
And not far from where my son lived. And who's his best friend because they lived together in Adrian when they were growing up. So that I thought was ironic. So I got the numbers and helped them. But we would meet in Franklin Powell Park. Of course, we have weeks and weeks prior to that of practicing because everything had to be right. So we would have Anna Hagar. That's the name I was trying to remember. Who's the person that was the woman friend of Von Schulten, and was Craig Barsinger and um, oh, a whole lot of us. Some of the names I can't remember, but we'd practice and we'd all be dressed up in our clothes of the what we thought looked then, the clothes that they would wear back then. And we'll have the whole program that started from the time that Anna Hagar spoke to Von Schulten and how she told them that they were coming to town and they were coming prepared to give me liberty or give me death. They'd either be killed or they would kill. And she was telling me you need to quell this before it gets more than that. And Von Schulten went out and declared that everyone that day was free. And it was poignant because every year we'll do it a different way, a different scenario. If this had happened, if that had happened, and I enjoy that. We'll have music. We'll have recitations done by Mr. Oswald Sewer, who's also an educator who has passed. We'll involve the children also because they too need to know the history, and we have to start, like I said previously, from the beginning. And it
absolutely.
was just so good. Even the taxi drivers let us take their space because taxi drivers are very territorial. They own any spot that they have taken because that's their livelihood. But we were able to have them move their vehicles for that day, and we had the entire waterfront area as you come off the ferry. And the vendors weren't selling in the park that day either, so we had the park for ourselves, the Franklin Powell Park. And then we'll have reading of the proclamation. Um, we'll have music by Pandragon. We'll have some recitations. We'll have little snippets of what it was like, and then we would move to a different area. This we did that a few years ago, which was very nice. We moved into the village itself, the festival village, and we had chairs put up and big tents so that the seniors could come and
Oh,
be comfortable. And we'll give them water or some kind of refreshment, so they enjoy that. And you know, of course, you have the hilarious, the funny part of the entire thing where you have to have a little bit of melee in between the play, because you know, we thrive on that in the Virgin Islands.
the peanut
And the
gallery,
singers would
yes.
be, and then we'd have those dances. Marianne's daughter from UVI, Marianne. What's Marianne's last name? I can't remember Marianne's name, but she's the one of the coal workers. You'll always see pictures of her. She had a piece of pipe in her mouth and a coal basket on her head, a basket with coal, because the coal workers were the ones who used to go to the ships when they came into West Indian Company dock, and their job for the day was to take the coal off of the ship, and they would get paid for that. And then they weren't being paid enough, so they went on strike. Oh, it was amazing. So we'll bring all of that history in as for a final or finale, which would always be, of course, we were free then, we just didn't know it, but we'll never go back to that way again. So I
Amen.
I, I like that.
So, what are the activities for tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're going to start at 10, and there's going to be, instead of, well, how things have changed. Those workers who have set up a vendors plaza in the Cruise Bay Park, and I'm using Cruise Bay Park interchangeably with Frank Powell Park, same park as you get off the dock. We're not doing anything there. We're going to go to Slim Man's parking lot, which is right up the street, and he has graciously allowed the committee and this group to use the parking lot. So you can't park your car there, but it will be decorated. And there's going to be drumming. The drummers are going to be there early, starting at 10. And the play is going to start around noon, because that was when we're trying to keep as close to the time as we can. Pam Richards and I are going to moderate that. We have Cindy Jurgen, who was just named the food fair honoree. She and Rita Samuel, Myrna, um, George, and her sister Marcy, Pastor Isaac, Vakni Isaac, and his wife, and a lot of locals are going to be the ones who are going to be performing at different parts of that whole day scenario that happened so long ago. So it's going to be very interesting. In
That
fact,
sounds
there's one part I haven't been able to take part in a lot of the practices because I weren't here. I wasn't here, but I know there's one part where I think it's Anna Haggard and her friend goes into a bar, and and you know, this is the part I like because it's wine involved. I love wine. And I'm supposed to be just one of the persons standing there with the wine and the glass. And my friend, when I went to this bar, she's going to be looking around and seeing Von Shilton and another guy that she wants to like saddle up to and get close to. And it's going to be very interesting. So I hope that persons who are listening can come over. You know, you want to bring a comfortable chair if you don't, if you have a particular chair you like, but we're going to have chairs and they're going to be sturdy, not the ones that open up and have you on the ground when you don't even know that you're on the ground. And that would be around noon ish. And so then we'll have that play, and then we're gonna have extra like poetry reading. Of course, we're involving the young people because you always have to get the young people and keep
yes,
the young
I
people
agree.
involved. And it should last probably about until a few hours. And of course, you could always go around to the village, which would be on the opposite side. And there are 18 booths, so you could eat as much as you can.
So,
Um,
will the foods be open during the day? Because you said the activities start around noon.
yes,
So,
but we're going to be in Sliman parking lot, which is
okay,
away from the village. But
okay.
you can go to the village and get food. And I tasted some Wilkes, which I hadn't had in a long time. Conch, um, some kind of fried fish last night, saltfish, because I want to eat only stuff I haven't had in a long time. I don't know. I don't want any chicken. Like I'm not particular to chicken, but I know what a chicken leg tastes like. The Johnny cakes are really good. So you want to come and sample the um the local cuisine. I've seen last week at the food fair sugar cakes in all different colors, and that really made me want to eat some until I remember my brother telling me how the sugar cakes were made, so I decided not to do that. But he was just pulling my ear when he was telling me how they were made, and I won't tell you that on this show. I can tell
No,
you
please
that.
don't do that.
But besides, St. John has a lot of culture, and I know that the same thing they're having on St. Croix. And to me, St. Croix is a cultural mecca to me,
Okay.
because whenever you go there, you see persons wearing their madras. You see them always having like a mango melee they have, and everything that's cultural. And I think that's great. We just need to not have everything all on the same day and intersperse it so that we can at least try to save our
Spread
money
it
to
out
keep playing
between
over to
the
St. Croix,
islands.
vice versa. Yes.
I agree. I'm looking forward to that. I can't make any promises, but we'll see because I do have the time off tomorrow. So maybe Mr. Francis and I will take a trip.
Oh, that would be good. He'd love it. And I'm
Yes,
sure
he definitely would.
he'll meet at least 10 persons who he knows.
He does love a pet, so he will probably will enjoy that. And even when you're giving us snippets about what to look forward to the reenactment, I think that's great that every year you add a little something and you
Hmm.
make it relevant to the community because you said that we have the time for Millie and now there's the wind up time and all of that is so relevant and exciting because not only is something that happened in the past, you're making it relevant to the future so it's relatable. And
Yes.
as it becomes more relatable, you're open to want to know more about what happened in the past. So thank
But
you. Thank
you're welcome. The night of the silent drum, for those persons who may have access by, I know you can get everything by Amazon or Kindle or whatever. That's an interesting book. You can get it from the library or you can get it on Kindle or Amazon. Wonderful. It tells you all about the uprisings, about Mary's Point, what happened over in Coral Bay, how they walked, because of the first uprising, came here on St. John, as I
Yes,
said that
very
before.
first.
And we know Mary's Point also is an area that the old there's an old saying about Easter Sunday, and certain times the rock just turns red like blood, because a lot of the slaves at that time, when they were their uprising was quelled, and they, rather than go back into slavery, they just threw themselves over that area, Mary's Point. So, and the rocks turn red at certain times. So it's steeped in history, lots and lots of history, lots of history here.
And one person, Felipe Ayala, he's been a guest on this show a couple times, and he was the designer of Queen Mary and the other two queens. That is at Blackbeard's Castle, because there's bluebeards, but there's
Oh,
Blackbeard's Castle. He was the designer of the statues there, and that too is a staple piece to see those three phenomenal women that led the revolt in Saint John.
I haven't seen the statues um, in person, but I've seen them in paper. But there's a statue in every park in the Virgin Islands. There's one as you come off the boat in St. John, in Franklin Powell Park. There's one in St. Croix, and there's one in St. Thomas. Those were commissioned by the late Governor Roy Lester Schneider, and it shows the man with this
The
his
conch shell.
the conch shell he's blooming in his other hand. He has the knife, the knife or the sword that represents us fighting for our freedom. We were always that way. We never would take for granted that well, they didn't. I guess that's why we have that fighting spirit. We would never take for granted that we were less than, and we still don't, because we tell our children that you're not less than. You can be anything you want to be. We just have to
Anything.
work at it and believe in it, and you fight until death, like they used to say, with a gun to your breast. You fight for it.
You're absolutely right. And not only that, I know being educator, you instilled in all your students, at least in my class, you told us how great we were and don't let anyone ever tell you that and don't settle for that. And no, I am not dealing with that. And in addition to every single thing, we had a spelling test every Friday because you say you have to spell.
Or you'd have to go up by Old Grand Union and find all those signs that they placed in the windows. Whoever could find the errors got extra
Yes,
points.
yes. So it wasn't just about textbook knowledge, it was real life knowledge, things that we need to know after we leave the classroom, everyday things that we don't really pay attention to. But you made us, when we went grocery shopping or not, pay attention to the signs and say whatever is incorrect. So, those things are things that you hold on to. And a couple of weeks ago, it was 33 years since I graduated from high school. Even though
Woo.
I don't look a day over 20,
No, you
I
don't. No, you
still
don't.
hold
You
on to.
graduated when you were 10.
I still hold on to those things that were taught to us way back when, and I instilled it into my daughter the same way and created another old soul.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing because she'll instill it in her children and then another person, another person. But it's I told a lot of my new friends and my old friends notice I don't have to tell them. I have never had a problem with a parent coming to school to cuss me out or anything like that because how are you going to curse out a teacher and then the teacher has to teach your child? And if you remember the first day of school, I would always say, we live in a democracy, but it's not in this room.
Yes, there's no
I'm in
democracy here.
charge. That's right.
It was just
That's
not.
you
It was
set the
not in
tone
this
and
room.
it
It was.
worked
There's
fine.
no democracy here. What I
That's
say
right.
goes.
Set the tone and we moved on, but we had fun. So that, like I was saying again, going back to being at Shard Armley today at the Ruth E. Thomas Auditorium, it was bittersweet because I remember walking up those stairs with my bag. As a result, I could barely raise my arm now because those books were heavy, but you carry, you had to do what you had to do. And just walking the halls coming down from building B down to the office and running back up again, and I could run up those stairs. When you park your car, I would run up those stairs and sign in real quick, and now I can barely walk up the stairs, but it's all good. It's all good. I could hold on to the rail and trudge right up. Don't stop
See,
moving. Keep
you have
moving.
an alternative, and I can't relate to some of the things that happen now with. I hear a lot of things because my parents with my nonprofit organization share about things that teachers do and how things have changed. And I always talk about I had the best teachers. They
You
were
know
not
you
our
did.
teachers.
That's right.
They were not our teachers. They were our family. And
True.
it was just, and we created such a bond. Not only we wanted to be proud of ourselves, we didn't want to disappoint you because of everything that you instilled, because it was not Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3:10. It was 365, even Saturday, Sunday, all the
That's true.
time.
That's true. And I
And
was telling somebody how we would get dressed up, certain persons in the class, and we'll go out to dinner so that the young men will learn how to hold the door. And I remember this one student, she was so shy. And I would tell her,
yes, for whatever reason, she's off,
she
but she'll
goes
be
in.
back. Okay, there you are.
Okay, sorry. I would tell them that we'll go out to dinner. Just some of the classmates, their classmates. We'll go to nice places like wherever Margaritaville is now. We remember going there. My last time I went with a group of students, and I'll tell them to hold a chair for the young lady. And of course, when we grew up, way back then, when I grew up, you had a fork, and if you were lucky, you had a fork, a spoon, and a knife.
One of
And it
our
was
listening audience, Hazel Chavez, is saying, class of 1994, we had some awesome teachers.
yes, we did.
Thank
Thank
you for
you,
your support,
Hazel.
Hazel.
And even when I retired and my niece became the principal at Julius Sprouse School, I had never taught middle school or elementary school. Anybody who has taught high school has to try middle school. What an experience. I mean, completely different. I remember this one student who's now a captain of one of the barges, and he has his own powerboat business, and he's doing really well. And I remember he came up to my class one day And I asked him his name, and he told me, and I said, okay, you could sit down. I didn't place anybody in any seat. They said, you sit where you want. So he sat down, and he came right up to my desk and took up my purse and went and put it on his desk. And I was like, and this is middle school at Julius Brown. I was like, so why is he doing that? So I said, why'd you take my bag? He said, no, because I want to. I was like, okay, because I want to, you bring my bag back. I had never had that experience with middle school. Everything was high school. You didn't do that. And they'll say, oh, Miss Wells, so and so take my pen. I was like, that's what people do in kindergarten. You're in middle school. So that was a learning experience for me. I really learned a lot being a middle school teacher. So I've taught at Julia Sprouse School. I taught at BCB when it just opened. I taught at Eudorican. I taught at CAHS. I taught at UVI in the summer. I taught at adult continuing ed. I taught at, um, almost every time there was a place to teach, you had to teach because we didn't make a lot of money. $12,000 a year was not a lot of money. And I remember going from regular um, high school, 8 to 3:15 or whatever, and then waiting until night school started. And then you go to night school, and then you have to get into your car and race to Red Hook because the last boat left at 9 or 10 o'clock. But it was all a learning experience for me too, and it's good to talk about it because I see my students. I must say, all of my students, and of course some I don't even remember their name, but I'll see them walking through the business. Miss Wells, oh, you don't remember me? And I said, no, just tell me your name, and then they'll tell me the year, and then I'll associate and I'll get it. But all of all of them have done well. A few got waylaid along the way and had to go and do some other things. But they came back and they're really doing well. So I am very appreciative. And I know that means that I must have done something right.
You did a lot
I
right.
must have done something right. And I love being a teacher. It's just not classroom thing. It's just teaching. And I
Well,
love
I
that.
don't think that you're a teacher. I think you're an educator. It's to me, it's a difference.
Well, thank you. I love being an
Because
educator. I'm going to say that from now on.
it's a difference. It was just not in the classroom setting,
Exactly.
and you said that you did one place for others. Our place was the chart house,
Oh, you see? You remember, yes. And you
which
learn
is
how to
now
cut our
Oceana.
meat and all of that,
So
yes. Because you don't just stab your meat and then put it up to your mouth and bite off it. Or the bread. I remember talking about the bread because
yes,
this
don't eat.
one
It's
guy
not a
wanted to,
sandwich. You break
yes.
it in pieces. And I still do that. I tell people do that all the time. It's not a sandwich. You have to
That's
break.
right.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I said you break bread. You break bread. You don't make a sandwich out of your bread. And I was telling it to somebody that said, you know what, you just always teach it, but it's good to know because who
Yes.
taught me? I got to know about that from by looking at people because my parents couldn't go to any chart house or have any meals at um Ritz Carlton or wherever you have to go. We just sat down and ate, and you ate. But I enjoy those little segues that we always used to do. That was nice on the weekends.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed the real life experiences, which was beyond business law. It was beyond typing. It was our everyday because you reminded us every day. Life continues beyond this classroom. And years after that, I saw the movie "The Hands That Rock the Cradle is the Hand That Rules the World,"
Rules the
and
world.
that's how I feel about teachers. You're the hands that rock the cradle, and you're the hands that rule the world. Because even though we have our parents, we spend most of our times with our teachers from
It's true.
from morning until the afternoon. By the time our parents get us this night or we go home, it's in the evening. It's time for dinner, homework, back, and then back to our parents, which are our teachers again. So you guys were truly the hand that rocks the cradles and created us who are ruling the world. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And what I just don't think that teachers get celebrated enough. And I know this is not a teacher segment, but it's to talk about the importance that every single experience is an opportunity to learn. And even though it's summer, school is out, and we're supposed to be celebrating what we know as Independence Weekend, it's more so Emancipation Weekend, our Virgin Islands Freedom Weekend. And we need to know about it, not just a day off. It really has significance, and the significance have so many avenues. What is important to me is that women started up
Yes.
this revolt. Women
Yes.
are the ones that carry this out. So I can sit here and have a conversation with you.
You know the song emancipate yourself from mental slavery. We cause that of our own. Something we don't even realize we're doing that, because it says none of but us can free our mind. You can get up in the morning and it's like, oh boy, my arm is hurting me, my leg is hurting me. But
And
you
it
have an
works.
arm and you have a leg. Just think of the person who has no arm and no legs. And you really have to talk to yourself in your brain to get you, because some days it's like, I don't want to get out of this bed. I don't want to hear nothing. The washer is broken. The car, tried to go someplace, it wouldn't start. But so you can get into the car and walk and take the laundry or get call somebody to help you. We have to be able to talk
Speak
inside of
life.
our heads and move,
Yes.
move, because only we can do it. Only we can do it. And if it's going to work, you start with self, and then you move on to helping somebody else. Because you know what they say on the airplane: put on your mask
The mind
first.
first.
Okay.
And when you said it start with self, I know 99% of my shows always talk about being good to yourself first, the importance of self. So so now you know where I got it from.
All right.
But it just didn't happen, just recently. This started only when I was 14. So
And since you're only 22 now,
and
I'm
since I'm
sorry.
only 22 now.
And I know this is your month, so happy July, because I know you
Thank
celebrate.
you.
That's one thing you do,
Yes, this month
celebrate.
starts my birthday
That's
month
right.
from yesterday, July 1st to the 31st. Every single day is an opportunity for me to celebrate.
Yes,
And
and that's
yes,
a
I
good
love
thing.
my birthday. And I just think that we should just do that, celebrate. It's just a little
I do
thing
too.
that I do. Just
I
spend more
agree.
time in
I
myself.
agree. At first, I first used to celebrate just the day, and then I started celebrating the week, and then I celebrated the month, and I said, well, why not celebrate the year? So I celebrate the year in
Yes,
little ways. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but I celebrate for me, and I tell everybody I'm celebrating my birthday. So when was it? I was like, oh, about 3 months ago. So you still celebrating? I say, yes, every day is a celebration. You're here.
yes.
You're here.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that is the way that we need to think. We need to recondition our minds. None but ourselves can free our minds. And we need to take that song to heed and really free our minds. It will cause us to be healed emotionally and physically. It will cause us to be open. So we want to learn and do things and be good to our brothers and sisters and, show humanity to one another.
So, something I just thought about, little things that happen, and we'll say, oh, we'll share that. And it's like, they don't want to hear that. But how do you know that somebody who's gonna hear it is going to probably be happy that they heard it? It might stir up some emotion that would give them some relief from what they've been holding. And you know me, I don't believe in holding anything in. I can tell you whatever I have to tell you, and then help you, give you some money to go to the store to move you something, because I don't believe you should keep things in. And I shouldn't have to tell Mary about you, because it's about you. I'm coming to you to tell you, and that's a learned response. I've learned that. Because we rather go tell somebody that, well, that Camilla tell me so and I don't know who she thinks she is. Go to Camilla and discuss it with her and then move on. That is a learned response. That's emancipating your mind also. Because when you hold something and you're hurting that person don't even know you feel anywhere about them.
Absolutely.
And they do,
Absolutely.
and you're having sleepless nights, and they have no idea that you feel that way, so they're sleeping. So you get to that. You know what it says, going back to church, before you go to communion, you're supposed to go over to somebody if you had some kind of beef with them. Beef, I'm using the young people word, and tell them you're sorry and talk it out and whatever, and then go to the communion rail. That to me is a little
Yes, free your minds and
yeah.
ask God for
That's
forgiveness. And
emancipating yourself also.
yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, it's
Well, this
all
Sunday we are on with educator Alecia Wells, who is my mentor, my mother, my friend. Um, and we're talking about the importance of this holiday, Emancipation Day, and not just Emancipation Day, the day, but how to be emancipated as individuals. And this is such a real topic that we need to carry out, not just on this weekend in July. And what better month to talk about emancipation? But that's another subject
yeah.
there.
that.
That's another subject there. But it really is something that we need to think about on a regular basis. How can we really be emancipated by so many things that we allow ourselves to be held in bondage about, you
Yes.
know, because it truly does start with self. So, Ma, I need you to tell our listening audience again about what's going on tomorrow at noon in St. John for, not just to come over and go to the beach, not just to come over and relax, but what is going on tomorrow at noon for those that tuned in late.
Well, thank you again for having me. It's always great seeing you. Um, and I have to tell you, I'm going to have a special hat on July 4th, which is American Independence Day. But July 3rd is Emancipation Day, and it would speak to 1733 because the Virgin Islands was the first place to be emancipated before the United States. That's why we celebrate on the 3rd. We're going to have um, music in the morning, just drummers and singing and probably libation pouring. And then at noon, we're going to go to Slim Man's parking lot. Many of you probably have been there for repasses after funerals or birthday parties or whatever. It's in walking distance from the dock. As you come off the dock, you'll take a right and walk down past Moe's and the parking lot, and then you're there. It's not very long. And we're going to have a reenactment of Emancipation Day in 1733 with Anna Hagar and Von Scholten. And in between that is going to be interspersed with probably something to make you laugh and something to give you of course, we weren't there at the time. We read about it, but we knew there were undercurrents also going on there. It wasn't all Anna Hagar telling Van Schoten that, these people are coming, you better do something. You can't just have them the way they've been going on all along. So we'll have some of that, which we would probably call a little bit of melee in there. And that's the fun part of it. And we're going to have dancing. And it should probably be, if you get there, if you come on the 11 o'clock ferry and you can walk around in Cruise Bay and walk over there between 11:30 and 12, or if you want to come at 9, in fact, you could even come now, right now, and get a place to stay. There's some place I know you can stay. And then go to the village tonight and come earlier in the morning. It should be nice. Of course, it's going to be hot, so dress appropriately. We'll have water and probably soft drinks, but it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun day, and this is always something that I particularly like about St. John. We always have that, and then we're going to have the torchlight parade, where we'll dress in white and use our flambeaux and go through Cruise Bay. That will be later on, of course, after sundown, and that represents the the slaves in 1733. They were ready to burn the whole place down if they weren't emancipated. And of course, there were women leading. We're always leading. We're right there, whether we're the only ones going ahead and not looking back, but we're going. If we decide we're going to be in something, that's it. Can't stop us. So it's going to be fun. Just come early and stay late.
Yes, yes, I love that. And there are other activities that are going on in St. John right now because this is their festival time. But I really want you guys to take the trip over tomorrow and celebrate and realize why we have Emancipation Day. Go and be a part of the melee and
Yes,
share the melee. So next year it will be a bigger event and they need a bigger platform.
right. And we'll add more on to it.
Yeah, so we could know exactly why, and hopefully we'll have even more kids next year to take part.
True. And all of this emancipation, where we're having talks about the sixth constitutional convention. We're having talks about reparation, not only in the Virgin Islands but stateside, about paying for what has been done. Of course, when you kill somebody and take their land and make it into a park, or cover it over and try to hide that person's history, I don't know how you put a price tag on that.
Hmm.
But all those talks are being generated because we know that we're good. We know that we've done a lot, and we know it's on our backs that this nation has become so great. And persons, as we speak, are probably trying to write it out They're taking out the books and they're taking out this. But once you have it in here, it's always going to be in your book, which is your mind. And you could
Yes.
always, once you can speak it, you can still carry on with or without the books.
Yes, that is so important. So please, my listening audience, and if you have any questions for me or Mother Wells, please just write it in the feed like Hazel has done. Let us know your exciting part if you want to know more about Emancipation Day, why it's celebrated, um, who will be the actors and the actresses in the reenactment tomorrow. Come on, let's take the boat trip. You're off. Why not? Take a
Yeah, and you
boat
can
ride.
take part.
Enjoy your sister island.
I'm sure there's going to be audience participation, and we'd love to have the audience come over and take part. And just come. Just make sure you put your sunscreen on because it is hot.
Oh yeah, it is hot. It
Hydrate.
is.
But just think of what they went through when it was even hotter with all that clothes that those slaves were wearing, plus the stress of what was going on in their minds. So we have a lot to think about and to think about as we say the word emancipation. But it starts with us. It starts with each of us.
So tell us about your beautiful hat. Who made your beautiful hat?
Well, Alicia Smith, we had a group of persons who came down in Cruz Bay last Sunday when we had the food fair, opening of the food fair and the coronation. And I saw them, and they were all Cindy, like I said, Cindy Jurgen, who's a food fair honoree. Somebody got together, and the ladies had these uh, on. They're really easy too. They look like this, and they wore white dresses. And Diana, what's Diana? You should remember Diana at tourism. She worked at tourism for a while. But Leisha Smith, um,
Diana Brown.
Diana Brown, right? Leisha Smith is the one who made these. So today at church was our emancipation service. So I wore mine and I served on the altar. We had the whole church built really in the auditorium. And as she was there, she brought some extras, which is good. See, women are so enterprising, and we must have sold. She and I help her sell because I can sell. I can sell things. I can tell you that
Well,
we
I
must
hope you
have
put
sold.
one aside for me.
All right, I'll do that. Um, and they're just so unique because you can wear it at the side, you can wear it at the front, you can wear it at the back. You can just put your own uniqueness into it. See, there's all sorts of ways. And it fits snugly on your head.
It is nice. I like it. I just have my pins that I got yesterday from I think she's Ada, 8-year old entrepreneur that made these little bowls.
Well, let her come and bring them to St. John. She could come tomorrow with her parents and bring them, and we can get them sold also. Because we should always support. That's another thing.
Yes.
We don't support each other enough. That's another piece of emancipation also. Because the bishop spoke today, well, the retired bishop, Bishop Gums, and he's spoken about this many times. Your food, your clothing, your gas, your furniture, you know who has the hold on that here in the territory. And if we could even do a 501c3 and just all the churches, because there were many churches there today, not only Episcopal Church, um, just have a co-op where we go and buy our food, but we can't keep talking about it. We have to do it because we know we have to eat. We have
Yes.
to eat. And that's why I like about St. Croix also. You can go to the market every day and twice on Saturdays, and there's a plethora of things fresh, no insecticide that you can buy and eat. And we need to start thinking because we're going to be left out if there's ever a reason why a ship can't come in here. We know that happened before. We just parts for a car, whatever. And we need to look at who's running us and why we're letting them do that. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
Yes, that is definitely important. So as we celebrate Emancipation Day, what has happened in the past, we need to focus on being emancipated right now in the present, in taking little steps to make your life better. What is it that you're going through? What are the things that are holding you back, or what are the grudges that you're holding on to? Let's free our minds as we not only celebrate Emancipation Day, the holiday, but yourself on this Emancipation Day. It is such an honor. I really enjoy this dialogue. I enjoy the conversation. I'm so glad that you said yes. It's always good to see you. I love you. I love your hat. Thank you for having one for me.
You're just the same. I taught you well.
And I am looking forward to seeing you these coming days.
For
So, is there
sure.
anything you want to say out to our listening audience to close us out?
You know, we always speak about our children because we're so much into our children. We should be, because our children are us. And I remember my son at night in the basement, and he's talking to, I don't know who it was, but, and I said, "What is it you do?" He says, "A podcast." I said, "Well, tell me how that works." So I sort of understood when you asked me if I would be, but I've never been on a podcast before. These are my special glasses to wear tomorrow. Have you seen? Because you have to look a certain way. You have to represent.
You're representing, right? You're representing.
So I'm glad you're doing this. I've been reading about it and keeping up, and I know you have your little daily motivation. I like that because we have to keep motivating ourselves because it's rough. It's rough getting up and having to face whatever, but you have to speak to yourself, and that's the emancipation. Once you wake up in the morning, you get
Yes,
up, go going. So right away. So I like that you're doing this, and I look forward to being on more of them and taking part because the world is our oyster. You have to open the oyster first, though, and the
yes,
treasure inside.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So good luck with this. And I know it's girls on the go. You two are busy. It's girls on the go. It's a motivational minute. It's a podcast. Don't stop. Don't let any grass grow under your feet.
Amen to
You can
that.
do it.
Thank
You can
you.
do it.
Thank you. And thank you for being my village. Thank you for being a part of my village for these years.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm
You're
so glad
welcome.
that you guys joined us this Sunday. Let's talk about you. Stay emancipated, not just enjoying the holiday, but emancipate your own mind, your life, so it'll take you from where you are to where you need to be. Stay blessed on purpose. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.